I wanted to talk about Samuel, the first Samuel, chapter 3. I know I have been in that chapter in the book of Samuel anyway for a little minute, but chapter 3 was a small one, so what I did was, as I do all over my read them and see what it is, or how can I apply it to my life, or what is it saying, and try to drain most of the nuggets out of it that pertains to me for right now, because I can read Samuel again a year from now and it could mean something totally different for my life, and you can find different ways and different meanings how God will reveal himself to you in the same verse or scripture. It can mean 100 different things for your life. So in Samuel 3, it basically is talking about Samuel and how he wasn't able to perceive God's voice yet, because back then God visions and wasn't a popular thing yet. It wasn't a popular thing in perceiving how we do now. So Samuel was going to sleep and he heard somebody call his name. He answered like 3 times, and every time he heard somebody call his name, he went to Eli and say, "Here I am." And Eli just was like, "Well, I didn't call you." And he said that for 3 times. Now, also, I was looking at the number of times that he called, which was 3. So on that 3rd call, Eli realized that that the Lord was calling Samuel. So he told him, whenever you hear that call again, just say, "Yes, Lord, your servant is listening," or "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." So that 4th call came to Samuel and he answered. And it was then when the Lord told him what he needed to tell him. Now, I did write some notes down, and what I found interesting was a lot of us right now are living just like Samuel. We're not able to perceive God's voice, or we're not hearing him as clear as we should. And I had battled with that as well. God is not going to always, God, not to me, for me, he never just spoke like I'm speaking now. Now, maybe some people, but not for me. Now, what he does do is what you feel in your spirit, in your inner self, that little voice, is him. Or sometimes he'll send people. You'll notice something and you'll know that he's trying to speak to you, or giving you clarification for whatever you need to do next, or your way, your will, or whatever you're asking God for. Now, the number 3 is a special number. Normally when I fast, I either do 3 days or 4 days. And I noticed that he called Samuel 3 times. I still hadn't figured out, why was it just 3 times? Is it 3 times because that's how long it took for Samuel to, Eli to realize what was going on? But Eli didn't even have to hear God's voice in order to know that that's who was calling Samuel. Only because Eli was already perceiving the voice of God, and so I'm guessing he knew that that's who was calling Samuel. So the notes I wrote down for Samuel 3 was, God didn't reveal himself much in those days, and visions weren't common. Okay, so when God was ready to speak, he called Samuel's name, but Samuel thought it was Eli calling. And that's what I just said. And it was actually the Lord calling. Eli told Samuel when he heard the call again, which he would on the 4th time, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Okay, so Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." The Lord spoke to Samuel about the judgment of what was to come, what was going to be carried out on Eli family, because Eli family had dishonored God and disrespected God as far as the sacrifice, and they just was running wild. Eli didn't want to tell Samuel what was going on, but he did. But he ended up telling him. The number 3 means harmony, wisdom, and understanding. And it also means complete and good. So now, after the Lord had called Samuel those 3 times, I felt like it was a seal of completion for Samuel to know and perceive God's voice now. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I gather from it. Like, I don't know why. Why did he call them 3 times? Why not 7? Why not 6? But because I felt like, because the number 3 is complete. And it also has the wisdom and understanding behind that specific number. Could it be that he called Samuel those 3 times and Samuel didn't understand? He thought it was Eli calling him, to the point that Eli knew that it was the Lord calling him. So on that 4th call, Samuel spoke, "Here I am, Lord." So now he can pretty much understand and perceive the voice of God. So now whenever he hears that voice, he knows it's the Lord. That's how somebody else probably can explain it better, but that's what I gather from it. And meaning, just like us, God is calling us. And a lot of time God is talking to us, but we're so busy and we're not able to answer God or listen to God because we're not even perceiving him. And the only way you're going to be able to really get a good connection of hearing God's voice, number 1, is in your quiet place, that secret place. Number 2, spending time, your intimacy with him. The more you spend your time reading and praying and meditating on God, the better your chances are to hearing him. You'll be able to perceive what he's saying to you. Because sometimes it can get tricky as not knowing who sent what. And I had my moments with that as well. And also, I had wrote down a couple of scriptures for you guys just to show the things that happened in 3 days. And you can go further into details about why and researched it, because I did, but I'm not going to just put all that right there. But Matthew 12:40, John 11:39, and Matthew 17:22 through 23. All these 3 scriptures, and I only gave you 3, will allow you to know and see some of the people in the Bible, that the things that happen in 3 days, even with God rising on the 3rd day. So once you do that, you will go back and say, what is the significance with the number 3? Like I said, I always fast either 3 days or 7 days. I have done like a month fast years ago. But I just wanted to jump up here and tell you guys how that chapter of chapter 3 allowed me to know I need to spend a little bit more time with God as well. Even though I'm spending time, I still sometimes get to that point where I'm trying to decide. And I should never be trying to decide. I should know. You know what I mean? So the key here is knowing that this is what God said. Knowing that this is what God is telling you to do. And sometimes when we get to that point where we're so stuck, or God is not saying anything, moving, or you feel like you're doing everything you have, or everything everything in your power you can, but you're not hearing his voice, 9 out of 10 you are. So you need to get to that place where you last sought God at, and sit there, spend time with him, and allow him to increase that voice. You got to, or else you will not make it far. Because like I said, I be back and forth. Well, I'm getting better now, but I remember that first time I heard that voice, and the second time, and the third time. But I need for it to get to the point where I just know. Or I like when some people just have back and forth conversations with him. So that's the level I'm trying to get to. back and forth conversations with God is where I'm trying to get to. So in order to increase all of that, I have to spend my time with God. I have to be in obedience with him. I have to fast and do the things that I need to do in order to get to that place. You know what I mean? So, like I said, this YouTube is basically just my journey and going through, and when you click on it, just hoping it can relate to your life a little bit. And another thing is, pay attention to repetition. If you keep seeing something over and over, or something in your heart over and over, pay attention to that. That is God trying to get your attention in a good way. If it's something good, not no sin. But pay attention to those things. Because like Samuel, like the Lord called Samuel 3 times, it was repeated. So you need to pay attention to repetition. That's another thing, that thing that's in your heart. And maybe you keep hearing a scripture over and over and over 3 times, or whatever the case may be. Look it up, and I guarantee you it's something for you. So with that being said, if I were you, I would read 1 Samuel chapter 3 over and over. Then get your commentary, your Amplified Bible, and see the different meanings and what does it really mean for your life, where you can display it to other people. But that's all I got for you. I just wanted you to pay attention to when God is repeatedly showing you something or calling you, and being able to perceive what it is the Lord is trying to tell you. So spend your time with him. Ask him to purify your heart and then increase your ability to hear. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.